you can miss Quency and Phantom. I feel like if you're not into solo raid, I think you can miss out on Quency. And for Phantom, she's kind of iffy. I wouldn't really say that she's really good for solo raid, and I think Shift Up also knows that Phantom is not good for solo raid because they specifically don't even want her to be available for the solo raid, for this boss solo raid. Phantom is gonna be available after the solo raid ends, where she's elemental advantage on. So that's just to give you an idea what they think about Phantom. She's not gonna be made for solo raid. There's 2 places where you can use her, and I feel like it would be fine. I think Phantom will perform evenly with Quency on Harvester, because Assault Rifle, I believe, has range bonus. Meanwhile, Quency doesn't have range bonus, but Quency's accuracy and hit rate, she does have enough hit rate that will hit Harvester's core enough, so Quency will actually perform on bosses and Harvester just fine. Phantom is not really made for a singular boss though, like there has to be some mobs. Harvester does have some mobs, which is why she can catch up to Quency's performance. But yeah, I think they probably intended Phantom to be for tower, for the tribe tower. But at the same time, are you really going to invest in a unit that is just made for tower? Because we can invest on a unit that is good on solo raid, and then they will also just carry over to towers. That's what we've done on Tetra, that's what we've done on Pilgrim, that's what we've done on Missilis. Actually, for Missilis, you know, people are talking about how they use Laplace for tower. But why did you use Laplace in tower in the first place? It's because you invested in dulls on her, and it's because there's no other DPS, to be fair, up until Ein came out. So like the most common use for Missilis Tower is Litter, Tia Naga, and then 2 DPS, right? Maxwell is good for solo raid, so, and then we have likely invested on her skill and overloads, so Maxwell will be in that slot. So then the last one, actually, this is something that some of the more recent players have said, because a lot of the older players have a lot of copies of Laplace, and that's also why they have more copies. That means they have more CP from the dupes, right? And the higher the level is, the more the CP just feels like it's in effect, right? The newer players have found Ein to be more useful than Laplace in an even situation, so that's just food for thought. In any case, right, units that we have been using for solo raid ends up being the one that is also used for the tower. My Elysian unit that I've been using for pushing actually has been made Privity, and I have been using Helm and obviously D also because we have skilled up her up. And then I have upgraded Mast before, so I used that Mast. Sometimes I actually switch to Diesel without Treasure, and the reason why Diesel is useful sometimes is because of her tanking capability. That sometimes is useful. I have used it on the Elysian Tower without Treasure even, by the way. And then the other I've been using was Guillotine, and the reason why Guillotine was useful for me is also because I have invested in Guillotine, because back then I was using Guillotine for Solar Raid. So at the end of the day, the units that we have been using are because we were using them for Solar Raid. If Phantom was not designed for Solar Raid, why should we invest resources on her? And even, let's say that she does have useful skills, but that means that you're gonna have to invest in skills, which we are running out of, we're lacking out of skills. And then also you have to invest in overloads. You guys have the luxury to invest overloads on a unit that you're probably just gonna use on tower. Yeah, so she might be good in short term, but then you have to think about it. Think about the other options that you have right now, especially for longer players. For newer players, maybe she might be a good option if you don't have any other Elysian invested. But like for longer players, you probably have invested in Hell, maybe you have invested on Maid Privity, and you probably invested on, I don't know, like what other Elysians you have, right? You're probably better off using them because your CP is likely gonna be low on Phantom if you haven't really invested a lot on her. And in return, that will even out because like sure, she has good mobbing skills maybe, but then with lower CP, she's gonna drop down in priority or like effectiveness of your overall whole team. So that means that in order for her to be effective, you have to invest also on her. And again, I can't justify it myself. And so my thoughts on Phantom is, why should I invest on her right now? Do you think top Phantom will be needed for top 100, top 50? I don't think so because, well, Phantom's not going to be available for this solar raid. So now we're going to have to wait until the next solar raid before we even think about using Phantom. But even if Phantom was available for this solar raid, I don't think she would be needed for top 100, top 50, even if she was available, but she's not going to be available for the solar raid. And the reason for that is because like resource, we just don't have a lot of resource. Even top players don't have enough resource. And with the way the teams are set up, she is not necessary. We can set up a team without needing her. Right there. That's like one example of setups. Team 1, I wrote down team 1s for the ones that are there. Team 1s. Team 4 combination, team 1 team 4 combination, team 2 team 3 combination, and likely the team 5, which is going to be the shotgun team. So this is kind of like my pre-raid setup. I think these are the teams that I think are going to be together. So this is my plan for my solo raid. I will invest in Quency to see if I get some good rolls on her. If I get good rolls on her, I will try to get my last elemental or third elemental line on Ludmilla. If I get that third elemental line, I will switch to trying to get some elemental on my Viper. If I do get lucky on my elemental on my Viper, then I will try to invest dolls on my Viper. Hopefully I get the dolls because I have enough for phase 3 Viper in terms of the treasure items. I just still need to upgrade the dolls first, but we'll see. But if I don't get Viper, it's okay, right? Because here's the thing, right? Like Viper is gonna be bonus damage for sure, but the thing is like I already have an invested Maid Privity, so you know, if my Viper doesn't get a lot of elemental bonus, then it's gonna be pointless. And part of me is just wishing I don't get good elemental rolls on Viper so that I don't have to invest on dolls on her. For the shotgun team, Tove is already the water unit or Leona, so you don't really need Viper as the water option. It's more just like additional damage. I would say probably the top 10 probably would, there's gonna be like people that are gonna be using Viper for sure. Top 50, maybe there's gonna be some people that would get away not investing in Viper just because it's very expensive. But yeah, I have backups if my Viper goes bad. You know, I have a Viper team or Maid Privity as a backup for her. Would it be better to not get Viper's final treasure phase? You want Viper's final treasure phase because Viper's position is gonna be more kind of like a Modernia, where she is a flex DPS spot. She is on the fifth spot. That's the flex DPS. So you want her to burst so that she gets that additional damage from her burst. Do you have a prediction on what Quency's numbers look like? She can match up to Ludmilla. And if there's no core, Quency should be stronger than Ludmilla. If there is core, if Quency can hit the core, she can catch up to Ludmilla. If Quency cannot hit the core, then but Ludmilla can, then Ludmilla should edge it out. The thing is, you also have to keep in mind though, however, Ludmilla has a debuff for the whole team. So that's why Ludmilla is still better in that regards, because she has a debuff for the team. Meanwhile, Quency is purely a selfish DPS. By the way, did you know that 56% of you still hasn't subscribed yet? Make sure to click that subscribe button, click that bell notification, leave a comment, like, and subscribe.